Hey guys, in this video we'll go over solving linear equations in one variable. Let's start off with some vocabulary. I'll mention these terms throughout the video and you can add them to your notes. A constant is a fixed value that does not change. A coefficient is the number in front of the variable. It multiplies a variable expression. For example, the variable term 8x, the coefficient is 8. A variable term or variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. For example, 8x and 4y are variable terms. X is the variable here and y is the variable here. Inverse operations is the opposite operation used to undo the first operation. For example, the opposite of multiplication is division, and the opposite of addition is subtraction, and vice versa. The distributive property gets rid of parentheses. It multiplies the term outside of the parentheses by each term inside the parentheses. And lastly, combining like terms simplifies expressions by grouping similar terms. To solve linear equations, we have 4 basic steps. Step 1 is to distribute if necessary. Step 2 is to combine like terms. Step 3 is to put the variables on one side of the equal sign and constants on the other side. And the last step is to isolate the variable. Now let's get into some examples. Our first example is 3 times p plus 8 equals 9p minus 12. In this case, we are solving for the variable p. Step 1 is to distribute if necessary. Since we have parentheses here, we're going to distribute the 3 to everything inside the parentheses. 3 times p is 3p. 3 times positive 8 is positive 24. Equals, we don't have any parentheses on the right side of the equal sign, so there's no need to distribute. We're just going to bring everything down. So we have 9p minus 12. Step 2 is to combine like terms if necessary. On the left side, we cannot combine like terms because we have a variable term, 3p, and a constant, 24. Same as on the right side, we have 9p, which is a variable term, and negative 12, which is a constant. So we cannot combine like terms in this case. We're going to move on to step 3, which is to put the variables on one side of the equal sign and the constant on the other side of the equal sign. Me personally, I like to put my variables and variable terms on the left and the constants on the right. Since I already have the variable term 3p on the left, I'm going to move the variable term 9p to the other side by doing inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 9p from both sides, because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So now on the right, 9p minus 9p cancel out. 3p minus 9p is negative 6p plus 24 equals negative 12. Now my variables are on the left. Now I just need to move my constants to the right. My constants in this case are again 24 and negative 12. So I'm going to move positive 24 to the other side of the equal sign by doing inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. 24 minus 24 cancel out. So I have negative 6p on the left, and negative 12 minus 24 equals negative 36 on the right. Now my last step is to isolate the variable. Right now I have negative 6p, which is negative 6 times p. Since that's multiplication, I can isolate the variable by doing inverse operations. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. On the left, this negative 6 divided by negative 6 is just a positive 1. So I'm left with p equals negative 36 divided by negative 6 is a positive 6. So P equals 6. I'm going to box my answer, or it's not my answer. Now I can check my work by plugging in 6 for P. And if both sides of the equation equal each other, then I know that my answer is correct. So I'm going to plug in 6 everywhere I see P. So I have 3 times 6 plus 8 equals 9 times 6 minus 12. 6 plus 8 is 14 equals 9 times 6, which is 54. 54 minus 12. So 3 times 14 is 42. 54 minus 12 is 42. So both sides equal 42. That means my answer is correct. P equals 6. Our next example is 1 plus 6x equals negative 5 plus 5x. In this example, we're going to skip step 1 because there are no parentheses on either side of the equal sign, so we don't need to distribute. And we're going to also skip step 2. We do not need to combine like terms because on the left side, we have 1, which is a constant, and 6x, which is a variable term. Same as on the right side, negative 5 is a constant, and 5x is a variable term. So we don't need to combine like terms. We're going to move on to step 3, which is to get the variables on one side of the equal sign and the constants on the other side of the equal sign. I like to put my variables on the left, so I'm going to start by moving positive 5x to the other side of the equal sign by inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So now on the left side I have 1, and then 6x minus 5x is positive 1x. On the right side, all I have is negative 5 because positive 5x minus 5x cancel out. Now my variables are on one side. Now I'll move my constants to the other side. So I'm going to move this positive 1 to the other side of the equal sign by doing inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. 1 minus 1 cancel out. So on the left, I'm just left with x equals, and on the right, I have negative 5 minus 1, which is negative 6. I'm going to box my answer, or it's not my answer. And I can also check my work by plugging in negative 6 everywhere I see x. So I have 1 plus 6 times negative 6 equals negative 5 plus 5 times negative 6. And we're going to see if both sides of the equal sign equal each other. If they do, then I know that my answer is correct. So I have 6 times negative 6, which is negative 36. So it would be 1 minus 36. And then negative 5. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. On the left, 1 minus 36 is negative 35. And on the right side, negative 5 minus 30 is negative 35. Since both sides equal each other, I know that my answer is correct. X equals negative 6. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.